Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Alpine Daily for this Thursday. Today I want to bring you an encouragement from the New Testament for those of you who are dealing with shame and guilt in your life, because even though you're a Christian, you've put your faith in Jesus Christ alone for the forgiveness of your sin, you still have patterns of sin in your life, you still struggle with sin, and that really weighs on you, and sometimes you struggle with wondering what God really thinks about you. I was talking to a friend recently who was dealing with some patterns of sin in his life, and he said, sometimes though I'm trying to deal with this, I really wonder where I really stand with God. And if you ever felt that way or dealing with that, I just want to encourage you today to thank God that Jesus sat down. Let me explain to you what I mean by that from the book of Hebrews chapter 10. The book of Hebrews is a great chapter that compares and contrasts the old religious system in the Old Testament with the grace of Jesus Christ in the New Testament. It starts in verse 1, says, the law is a shadow of the good things that are coming. So it talks about that the law, the old religious system, the idea that you can, the idea of working your way to try to please God through your good deeds and religion. It says, as much as you try, this can never make perfect those who are coming to worship God in that way. As much as you try by these same sacrifices, by religion to be made perfect, you will never be made perfect through religion. It goes on down later in verse 11, kind of continuing the same idea. It says, day after day, priests stand and perform his religious duties. Again and again, he offers the same sacrifices, which can never take away sins. He's describing there what happened in the Old Testament temple, that the priests were there, and day after day, they stood there and they performed these sacrifices over and over again. But the reality was, it never really took away their sin. It never ultimately dealt with their sin. But it says in verse 12, when this priest, that's Jesus Christ, when he came and he offered once for all time one sacrifice for sins, what did he do? He sat down at the right hand of God. Now that's very significant. It says, again, think about the image, that the priests used to have to stand there all day long performing the sacrifices, but it never really took away sin. In the Old Testament temple, there were no chairs, there were no benches, no place to sit down, and that was meant to be a reminder that the work was never really done because nobody was really made perfect. So it's very significant that it says, when Jesus made his sacrifice, what did he do? He sat down. That's a powerful picture that demonstrates that when Jesus died on the cross, the work of our salvation was completed once and for all. It was done. So what happened? It says in verse 14, by that one sacrifice, he made perfect forever those who are being made holy. This is such good news to know that because of what Jesus did, not because of what I have done in my life, not because of how well I perform religiously, but because of what Jesus did in his sacrifice on the cross, he has made perfect forever those who are his. And so if you have put your faith in Jesus Christ, you're not trusting in yourselves, but you're trusting in him for your salvation, trust in this good news today that God has made you perfect. You are absolutely perfect in his eyes. And even though you sin and mess up in this world, the way you stand before him, he looks at you as absolutely perfect because of what Jesus did for you on the cross. And so I'd encourage you today just to pray and to thank God and to ask him to help you to rest in that grace and forgiveness. I hope we have a great day.